Beauty. Hardman, far sideline, has blocking, and out of bounds, out across the 45, no flags. And yet we're not so convinced that they won't try another one tonight. Butker nails it from 40. Even your friends. Mayfield, Irving, the catch and the strong tackle made by Reed. Delayed blitz, passes caught. Watson again, his second of the night. First down Chiefs. They don't get any more yardage. It's 3rd down and 8. Again, pressure. Mahomes was hit. Passes caught by Hopkins. Wow, what a grab by DeAndre Hopkins for 35. Protection, back of the end zone, Hopkins. Got him there and got him in. Play action from Mayfield, and he's brought down back at the 20 by Karlaftis. He's been everywhere in this first half, a loss of 3. Each side with all 3 timeouts. Mahomes, Kelsey, spinning grab. Just shy of midfield. Here is a throw to White. A lot of misdirection, and the Chiefs not fooled. He was fouled and committed the foul. Back to second and a couple, and Hunt right up the gut. First down at the 20. Third down and goal. Mahomes out to his right. Flips. Touchdown, P-Ride. Back to Hunt. Right up the gut, first and goal. Hopkins at the bottom. His way. Touchdown, Kansas City. Extra men on the rush. Mayfield swallowed up. Jones is in there. Bolton was in there. And a loss of 7 on the sack. 3rd down and 16. Able to step into it. Incomplete for Ryan Miller. Hopkins makes a man miss. And Winfield knocks him out of bounds inside the 30. Caliendo comes in. He's eligible. Here is Hunt for the touchdown. Kansas City remains unbeaten. 8-0. And a win in overtime.
Yo. Welcome to season 6 of the Red Hour. We are here on this Chiefs Victory Tuesday as we play some Monday Night Football. It's a very big day in the United States of America. If you did not know, the trade deadline for the NFL was today.
Yeah.
So it's a very big deal.
We know.
Yes, it was. Today was the trade deadline.
It really is a crazy time in America.
See what I'm saying? So we'll talk about some notable trades that happened today. We'll get some injury reports from our betting cousin over here, because I know he knows who's in, who's out.
You want to know how you know? Because he reads.
Welcome into the Red Hour.
Why? Because you was reading.
Because you was reading. Or he was on Nude Africa. Welcome in. Yeah, it is the Red Hour. I'm your host, Sean Tyler, with the crew. To my left, cousin, Captain Betterlot, the Darren Smith. What's up, yo?
Ask me later on tonight after Constitution after that amendment hopefully passes.
Okay.
Number 2.
We'll talk about that a little bit.
Yes.
Did you place a bet on who's going to win the presidency?
I did.
All right.
Damn. Why he looked down?
Say, man,
I knew he did. All right, and to my right, as always,
it was
nephew.
on the offshore books, though. It was on offshore.
It's an 800 number, I know.
And Wall Street did real good today. They usually do on election night. He is here. Steve Walls. What's up, nephew?
I'm good.
How you feeling? Voted today.
You see the sticker?
Yeah.
I didn't just, make this and go print it. I actually did cast my vote.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Today's cool. Like, you mentioned the trade deadline. I'm kind of upset, but I know we'll talk about that in a little bit.
We will. And
Cuz, man, we're going to get to it.
To our far right, as always, the infamous. You a little laid back on the hair today, DJ Q.
Yeah, I had to run a little water through it.
All right, usually has a little more volume. I see you though.
Yeah, I just watched it not too long ago. So
All right. Gotta watch
we celebrating my favorite Scorpio this week. My sister. But her birthday is not till middle of the month.
Yeah.
So
but she celebrates all month long.
Scorpios party all of November and then the first part of December because they may have missed a day or two because they had to work.
And I know she is not cutting back at all. She's going all in always.
She's going in. So we starting tonight.
All right. I'll have to catch up with y'all before the month's out and have a drink with my girl.
Definitely.
All right. Welcome in. We are celebrating another Chiefs victory as the Chiefs are still the only undefeated team in the NFL at 8-0. But I do want to remind you, first of all, it is also election night in the country, and you still have about 28 minutes left before polls close. So if you have not voted or you know somebody who has not voted that is a registered voter, get them out the house, take them, because you are allowed to vote if you are online before the polls close. And again, that happens at 7 o'clock. So get out there if you have not cast your vote and make your voice heard in this election.
Because there is a lot of people watching us from around the country. So
so whatever time zone you in, you may want to check where your polls close.
I didn't even know New York. We were talking about this. New York closes their polls at 9.
It's a lot of people in New York.
And I was telling him there's a lot of rural New York that a lot of people don't really pay attention to. So they have to get those votes down and get them to Albany.
9 o'clock too.
But they're on the West Coast.
No, I'm saying still 9 o'clock their time.
Yeah.
So it's pretty late.
And it's another big state. So voting, get out, make it happen. All right. So let's stay right there for a second, because in Missouri, on the ballot is legal sports betting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it is legal in Kansas already. Missouri has legal marijuana. And I was talking to nephew earlier. I was like, I don't know if it's going to pass in Missouri. What are your views?
It'll pass.
Many times I voted.
Because this is
how many times you vote?
This is the third or fourth time it's been on the ballot.
Did you catch that?
I don't want to be a part of that, because that way I don't have to answer any questions in court.
Wait a minute.
And I think he meant the number of times it's been on the ballot. I don't think he meant today.
No, he said many times he voted.
I'm trying to get that thing passed.
He used to work in that sector of. So do you think it'll actually finally make it?
Yes, I do. I think it'll pass. Like most of these amendments, they're normally close, but I think once the big metro areas, Jackson County to St. Louis County, and that Columbia, Jeff City area, I think once those numbers start adding in, it'll work handily.
See, a lot of people feel like they've been burnt by this before with the Missouri lottery, because they're always they're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars pumped into the school system, and everybody's like, where? I don't see that money coming in, especially not into the inner city. We don't new books, new schools, no air conditioning. Where's this hundreds of millions of dollars going over decades?
More than anything, though, you're getting a lot of people that's already doing it. Because we're crossing the state lines. Literally. Whether you're in Kansas City or if you're St. Louis, of course, you're going over to Illinois and you're betting.
Iowa,
all the surrounding states have legal betting.
I mean, we're doing it already. So I think. It's more closer to passing than not. And then you get all these spouses that's like, where y'all going? You're going over to the cross the state line? Tired of that.
I don't think y'all understand how Missouri works. Well, Missouri, they'll probably vote yes. In Missouri, it's going to be a big hell no.
Because most of these states that have it, I know Ohio just passed it, I think, last year. And they they get so much money, so much revenue from it that they're thinking about using some of those dollars to, maybe help finance stadiums and the other thing is, they're using that extra tax, but kind of like the weed stuff where you're able to do other stuff because of all that influx of tax money that's coming from it, or the tax revenue that's coming from, from the bets that you're placing on it.
See, and legal marijuana passed in Missouri because people underestimated stoners. It's like they can get high and then go to sleep online when the polls open and they're already there.
Well, that, and then also like it's a lot deeper money in that than it is in the agriculture that we currently have.
Do you know how much money they made in the first 6 months of Missouri's legal marijuana?
And that's what I'm saying.
More than they made by
yeah.
taxes. That's regular taxes.
It makes sense here because we got, again, a lot of the rural land that's already farmland anyway. So
yeah, in Harrison, Buckers, Missouri, shut up and go bake a pie. Nobody's betting over here. Jesus wouldn't bet.
But no, I think it passes because I think Missouri is competitive in that way. Like,
all right, we'll see. We will find out tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. Because I'd much rather be sitting at home than driving across.
Me and Steve were talking about it last night. We'll just rather just been an Arrowhead. We could have been placing bets last night.
No disrespect to Kansas, but like,
and it's funny because when they were talking about this, like in the last week, news crews were going out on Sundays. And when the Royals were in the postseason, they were going on state line and just watching people in parking lots of grocery stores just pulled up alongside the highway.
Exactly
and
where we be at.
All Missouri tags.
The Merc.
Everybody was making that bet.
Man, it's real.
Yeah,
it's real.
So we'll see what happens. But we did see what happened yesterday in overtime victory for the Chiefs over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it's funny because my guy owns Patrick in the college rankings, but Patrick owns him when it comes to professional football. These two were not new to each other at all. Baker Mayfield, who has been one of my guys since he got into the league.
You like Baker?
I've always liked Baker. Baker's a good dude.
You can hide a lot of blemishes in college too.
For sure. You absolutely can. But it went to OT, and again, you kind of saw where we had this conversation before where the Chiefs look like they play up to the level of competition that they're currently, so they struggled in the fourth quarter offensively. And then when Baker lost the toss for overtime, Patrick's like, we want the ball. And they went, score, game over. It's like, why couldn't y'all have done that 3 minutes ago? But nonetheless, we are still the only undefeated team in the NFL. And Darren, I want to get your take on Patrick Mahomes yesterday, who was 34 for 44, 291 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And then we'll talk about the big scare with his ankle.
Well, I think I know Steve and I, when we talked about on our pregame show yesterday, I know that was his X factor for me. It was going to be the left tackle, or the tackle's position. But to Steve's point about Mahomes being the X factor, he had to have a clean game, and it was kind of, because there were some times it was like, I'm sitting there like, okay, should I have bet Patrick had an interception in this game? But, he played well. I think we finally got a chance to see, after a full week's worth of practice, what DeAndre Hopkins can bring to this team. Putting him down on the goal line next to, he and Travis Kelce next to each other, I think that's going to be a solid, because you're not going to know who to defend. You still got Kareem Hunt down there as well. So, I mean, you have so many options.
And we still have options returning.
Exactly. And so, it was a good game for him based off of final stats. It wasn't trending that way going into the fourth quarter, and that's not even counting the fact when he hurt his ankle or what have you. So, but I think the fact that when Baker and the Bucs took that lead 17-10, it forced him to make some adjustments, and really, because he kept putting the ball in harm's way, which was and
it was also raining.
Yeah. But then it was like, get back to running the football. They got back to run football, giving the ball to Kareem Hunt. And I told Steve, I think on the left, I said, man, just feed him the ball. Let him just take you down as far as possible. Dink it out to Hopkins or Kelce when you can, but just feed Hunt, man. Because I don't want a situation where Patrick would try to make a play and have an interception or a turnover. So,
speaking of Kareem Hunt, 27 for 106 yards and a touchdown yesterday. Travis Kelce, 14 for 100 yards, no touchdown. D. Hopkins, his very first home game at GHA Field at Arrowhead as a Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chief 8 for 86, 2 touchdowns.
I did call it a touchdown.
And that miraculous catch amongst 3 defenders, he grabbed it and brought it down and held on to the ball.
Who did that remind you of?
I think Patrick closed his eyes when he threw that ball.
No, say it.
F it. Tyreek down there somewhere.
I mean Tyreek. I'm sorry.
I was waiting for somebody to say it.
But you know what? I think he's making a big. We knew he would make a large impact, right? But I think he's making a much bigger impact than we expected him to. At least from what I expected.
He's going to make a much bigger impact than you've already seen.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It's just going to get better.
And I say that because when you had who was number 11 before MVS? Demarcus Robinson.
Who's balling right now.
He would normally have that route. He would normally be the guy that is taking the top off of the defense. And we've seen Patrick throw him that pass from, 2019 all the way till 2022. Like, we've seen that play. We've seen Tyreek run that play and go get that ball. After Tyreek leaves, you really had nobody that was going to get that ball.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be MVS. And MVS did, I mean, to his credit,
sometimes
he didn't do it through the end, but Buffalo,
he didn't do it consistently.
It was spotty.
He didn't do it consistently.
It was spotty.
But in the playoffs when it counted,
he was there.
He did.
He caught the ball.
He was there.
And that's what I'm saying. I think you have yet to see all of the packages that they're going to install with Travis on one end and D-Hop on another end. And I think you see a different Patrick really start to develop as the season goes along. One, because he has a dog that he can trust. Yeah. And that dog is DeAndre.
Yeah.
And then he still has Travis, who just woke up last week from a very long nap. And then you have other guys around. You have the Worthies that are able to kind of add that spark. You have the McColls that can still add that spark on special teams. I think where they fail, and is where we saw it last night, where if you're playing a defensive line that can get to Patrick and really cause some disruption. I said it last week. I don't want to pick Baker Mayfield over Patrick Mahomes because I know in that moment, if Baker Mayfield tries to be Superman,
he's going to turn the ball
over. It's not going to work out. Yeah. If Patrick is going to play Superman, he might throw an interception, but the defense is going to help him get the ball back. And I think that's where it makes the Chiefs so dangerous right now, because the defense yesterday was okay. Again, I think if he has Godwin as a weapon, I think yesterday goes a little different. But I still think it's a close game, and I think it's a toss-up of who wins that. And I think the difference that Chiefs fans have been looking for is what's been found in DeAndre.
And the difference too, I think, if Baker had his weapons, if he had the guys
if he had Godwin was there,
I would have picked them. If Godwin,
Mike Evans.
Between Mike Evans and Godwin, I think Mike Evans makes a difference, but I think Godwin adds that athleticism and that strength that could have really lit up the Chiefs in the secondary, because the secondary, I don't know if you guys would say it, but I would say they didn't really have a good game.
Oh, no. I told Darren this. I said, after Jalen Watson got hurt, there's a drop off and you can see it. Yeah. No disrespect to Joshua Williams, but on that other side, opposite Trent, you definitely see a drop off from where Jalen Watson, that would be his time to hold it down.
And I say that because the best drives that I saw from Tampa Bay were the drives that not only that they were balanced, but they were able to not put too much on Baker.
And they were very quick drives. When Baker Mayfield got the ball and got rid of it super fast, throws, they were very productive plays.
He allowed his athletes to make the plays, break tackles, and that's where a lot of teams haven't shined against the Chiefs this year. And I would also say late last year.
And unlike other teams that play the Chiefs, when they're down or they're looking at the clock and it looks like they could either win or lose the game.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield showed great poise yesterday, because a lot of times he looked like, okay, I've got to do something. We've got to win this game. And they got up.
I thought he was going to use his legs more than he did.
And surprisingly, yesterday with the rain, there were 0 interceptions on either side of the ball. So that was
you had a lot of sacks.
A lot of sacks.
Friend of the show, Justin Reed, he should have had an interception. I asked him about it. He's like, man, I had it.
In his hands.
I had it.
In his hands. In his hands. Chiefs 30, Tampa Bay 24, nonetheless, in overtime. And the funny pictures, of course, that they're showing Baker Mayfield when he loses the coin toss.
Yeah, it's like,
he knew what was going to happen because we've seen it over and over. Don't let Patrick get the ball first in overtime because it's a wrap.
Yeah, he's 6-0 in overtime.
Yeah. So this game, some people call it the trap game, and this is not a game on my radar. The only 2 games that I say we would struggle would be the Texans and the Bills, and both of those are still coming up. So let's go over some other scores in the league this past weekend. The Jets actually won a game over said Texans.
Yeah, but Texas has got a lot of injuries.
They do.
Yeah.
And my daughter asked me Sunday before the games start, she goes, what's going on in the NFL? Are these guys not drinking milk? There's a lot of injuries going on right now.
I was telling Steve last night, the one thing I think we need to talk about is just how bad the NFL has been this year when it comes to these games or whatever, because I don't know if it's a lot of it obviously is due to the injuries, but are those injuries because players aren't practicing in the preseason? They're not playing in the preseason. No. That's part of it.
I think they're drinking almond milk.
No, I think the issue is, and the reason we see more, one is not only the turfs that are on the field, but also when you have a culture that is bigger, faster, stronger as generations go, you have guys that, and especially if you look at the middle linebackers now versus when you had Mike Singletary and the Dick Buckuses, these guys can lift a semi truck.
Yeah. But it ain't been like this year. This year you got superstars that are going down. Like
I think a lot of that has to do with the field, but a lot of that also has to do with the wear and tear on their bodies.
They're not even practicing. I mean, yeah, hell.
But
you're talking about from a micro. I'm saying from the different surfaces that they have to play on from high school to college to then
but the problem with that is that their body's adjusted to it because they've been doing it for a number of years.
Nah, your body don't adjust to injuries.
So and there was a conversation.
I'm talking about the field conditions. I mean, because if you're practicing at Arrowhead, you're on grass. If you're playing in the dome like you are in Detroit or some of the places, if you don't have a rolling field as grass, whatever, it's still on concrete.
And that's what I'm saying.
But your body's still adjusted.
And it's been that way since the NFL has been a league. I mean, you've got different surfaces, and even some of the turf surfaces they have undergone,
and it ain't changing.
Different types of turf.
Evolution, and they use different kind of turfs and what's under it,
different types of turf.
Yeah, so
even in New York, there's it's not the Jets, but the Giants stadium.
It's the same stadium.
It's the same stadium.
Yeah, MetLife.
That stadium is terrible, and players will tell you that stadium is terrible.
What was the one?
It's a couple of different ones that are just very terrible to the point. Again, I'm saying wear and tear. When you go from, like, the Chiefs probably have the best kept field. One of the best kept fields, especially because they're grass. But when you
they even use our groundskeeper to use,
so when you're going from that to domes in Detroit, domes in Minnesota, domes in Atlanta, domes and then you go to all of these astroturfy type. I think that's wear and tear on all of your ligaments because, again, you're playing bigger, faster, strong. You have linebackers that are running 4.2 40s and can literally push a barn out the way.
And they're moving these games around to different days of the week, so you don't have enough time to
rest. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I've always been against increasing the NFL schedule for that reason, because having those quick
when they go to 18.
I saw someone having a conversation on Facebook yesterday that they think Kareem is playing injured, but he's trying to play through.
No, he did last year, but he ain't injured now. He said he's 100% healthy.
He's fine.
Even if he's not injured, he's hurting. Because, I mean, you see the plays that he's making. You see how he's getting hit, and he's getting hit by 5 or 6 players at a time. So he's not.
Here's the thing about Kareem. Here's the thing about Kareem, and I figure dude is built different. Like, even Matt Nagy, I think it was last week, he's like, man, I don't know how he does it on Monday mornings. Like, what his regimen is or whatever, but he's ready to go Monday and ready to go Tuesday after playing, getting all the carries that he's had on that Sunday.
He's had 4 seasons to kind of like chill.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So he's a whole fresh new body. And you think about it, like when players know the system that they in, they're not giving they all. And we've heard players talk about this. Like we've heard players.
We've seen some of them walk off in the middle.
and that's what I'm saying. Like
that's because you in a losing culture.
Well, whatever the reason.
Yeah. So it's a lot of flaws in football. And I think a lot of those flaws, again, we're seeing not only in concussions, but we're seeing in the ACL tears, tricep. Like how many players have tricep tears over the last couple of years? And it's like, damn, you out for 6 weeks for tearing that.
Well, hold on. One thing though, when it comes to Kareem, and I was telling Steve this, the Chiefs, his teammates don't give him a chance to get hurt. Like when he gets hit and he's on the ground, first thing they do, they all run over, just pick him up off the ground. Like we ain't giving you no time to rest.
But to kind of piggyback on what Q was saying about like players not giving it their all on different teams, we even heard like when D-Hop did his introduction interview to Kansas City, he was like, man, I haven't played meaningful football in a number of years. If he knows that, I don't feel like of course he went there to get the bag. We all know he was there.
Yeah, hold on, but did he add in January to that? Because I'm pretty sure I was there when he addressed it.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's one.
No, he didn't add January. Football. No, he didn't add January. He was like meaningful football, just period.
Yeah,
like
he's been there
you get to week 8,
season and a half.
You get to week 8. We talked about New Orleans, like them giving up Marshawn Lattimore. Like right now, you would give him up because week 8, we ain't playing meaningful football for the rest of the year. So it's like, all right,
and then it's a lot of the guys that are first, second, and third year players that are trying to get that next contract. So they might be playing for that.
What you call a business decision.
But when you got veterans like DeAndre Hopkins, where it's like, all right, I'm actually just waiting for the next team to call.
Yeah.
We know football at this point. A deal is done when we hear about it.
Right.
But when it starts, I'm sure D-Hop, that happened last year.
I'm gonna say this in duck, but it's the same thing with CD and Dak. I mean, CD got paid. He like, man, we ain't winning. Dak, they showed him on the camera the other day. We suck. Yeah. So it's like, y'all know y'all ain't playing meaningful football. You ain't gonna get 100% from CD.
But now see, going back to that, when we started the season, that's why I was like, don't pay that, because I was like, Shedeur Sanders will work well in Dallas, but now you, I don't know. I mean, you put yourself in a bind now that you got Dak Prescott and you paid him.
I bet in Dallas they wish they could trade GMs more than they can play.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't think you think Shedeur is going to want to go play. Maybe because of Dion.
Yeah, they from Dallas.
Yeah.
They live in Dallas. They love to go play for them.
Okay.
All right.
I don't see it.
Some other games yesterday. The Panthers over the Saints. Finally.
Well, the Saints haven't won since they won the Super Bowl against Dallas in week 2. So
Saints had a fire sale for their coaches afterwards. Man. It's like, man, y'all get out of here.
Man, I didn't think about the firings that they had this week. The Commanders are still doing their thing. They were over the Giants.
7-2.
You know who that is?
Absolutely. They lie. Bills over the Dolphins. Is it a wrap for the Dolphins?
It is.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that hinges on Tua. And him not being able to look, the best availability is being available, is health.
Yeah, when he got injured, that was a wrap to their season.
The best ability is availability.
Yeah,
and he hasn't been available for 3 seasons.
And Tyreek, did he make a catch last week? Did he go 0? Over?
I don't know.
Well, week before last, I think
he played every game last year.
He played every game last year. Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
Does he know
for the fact that people that the rumors out there, where there's smoke, there's fire with like Tyreek, Chiefs, Tyreek putting out all these different.
Why would you think that wouldn't happen?
They don't need him right now. You don't need Tyreek
right now, but at the end of the season next year, when DeAndre Hopkins goes elsewhere or retires,
they ain't letting D-Hop go nowhere.
Okay, so still you wouldn't.
No, because Kansas City wouldn't have cap space for him.
Look, somebody gonna make some room.
Speaking of teams whose season is over with, the Falcons over the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, Falcons are a good team. Why y'all look at me like that? I just think
You want to
without a running no. Without a running game,
should we let it redo the Super Bowl?
We got to
pick?
do a half season redo.
No, we're not doing a half season redo.
Steve,
Look,
don't
listen, hold up, listen.
Don't down the hill, Steve, because I tried to pull you
No,
back.
I'm not you. I ain't gonna cancel. No,
he tried to be Tyrese.
Yeah,
he tried to start pulling you back.
I tried to pull you back when you talked about the Saints were going to beat the Chiefs. I gave you every chance, and then you talk about how people were in your DMs giving you the business.
That's okay.
Now,
Listen. The reason why Dallas is so bad is not because of Dak and not because of CD. Listen, hold on.
It's because
they don't have a running, like they have no running game, so that causes your defense to always have to be on the field. You're not able to slow the game down. You're not able to. They're playing the pass, huh?
They had 3 running backs. Rico Dowdle.
Come on, man.
I'm just saying.
Guys that are on their way out the door.
So they got Ezekiel Elliott back, and they don't have a running game.
Out the door. Zeke is not. Zeke was suspended for last game.
First of all, say his name right.
Hold on, Steve.
Zeke.
Hold on, Steve. Now you knew this before the season started, but yet you had him in the Super Bowl. So whose fault is that?
And they got
not the fact that they wasn't gonna be.
They never run a game before the season started.
They got Dalvin Cook.
No, I didn't know Zeke was gonna be acting like
Say
this.
his name right, Zeke.
I didn't know he was gonna be acting.
So you're
like
just not going to admit that Whack Prescott just sucks?
Nah,
What do you call him?
nah. They got 2 guys that they paying an
I've been
astronomical
calling him
amount of
Whack
money.
Prescott.
Look, they gonna be in contract purgatory come next season because they got 2 guys, Dak and
you have some
CD.
You have a team that will take Dak's contract in a trade.
Ooh.
But you
Stay healthy.
But you don't give up. You don't give up Dak unless you're ready to rebuild.
Well, no. Well, first of all, hold on.
Who is Dak going to play backup?
What are they building around now?
Hold on. First of all,
you can at least. You need a quarterback.
Steve,
as bad as these quarterbacks are now,
so that's what I'm saying.
They're not going to trade Dak first.
No, I didn't say that.
Well, I'm telling them that they're not going to trade Dak. His contract is too much.
$50 million, right?
It's $60 million per year.
Yeah.
Plus, it would be devastating to Dallas's cap salary cap. So no,
I just paid them.
We had 2 teams put up 41s this week. The Bengals over the Raiders, and the Ravens over Denver.
Because y'all told me Denver had a defense that was going to do something to Lamar.
Who the hell said that?
I didn't say that.
Okay, not me.
I didn't say it.
No, I feel like y'all said that last week.
I'm gonna go run back the tape.
We're going to take our first break of the evening. Polls close in 2 minutes. So if you have not voted, if you're online before that 2 minutes up, you are allowed to vote by law. In line. Don't pull up and then start screaming. In line. By the time the polls close, you're still allowed to vote. So do not get out of line, and do not let anybody tell you that you have to get out of line. If you're in line before the polls close, you, by law, are allowed to vote. Coming back on this Victory Monday, we'll talk about injuries. We'll talk about so much more. We'll talk about the standings in the league right now as well. And we're going to give Steve another shot at his Super Bowl pick, whether he wants it or not, because this is just bad. This is horrible. Horrible. We'll be back. Thank you for tuning in. It's the Red Hour. Back in moments. Season 6 of the Red Hour, live from the W Studios on this Chiefs Victory Tuesday. Chiefs in overtime over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last night, 30-24. We are moving on, and this undefeated season continues. And my vision, it's just one game closer. That's all I'm saying. So let's talk about the current standings in the league right now. Let's start in the NFC North. The Lions, 7-1.
Hey,
this is going to be another postseason year for the Lions with no hopefully there's no major injuries or anything that go on. Jared Goff is playing out of control, and the defense just
starts up top.
They are a full package team, and they're running on all cylinders right now. The Vikings in the NFC North are 6-2. They were the last bastion with the Chiefs for a while there, and then they lost 2 games. The Packers 6-3, still in it, and the Bears. Disappointing Chicagoans everywhere. Once again, they're sitting at 504 right now. In the NFC South, those Atlanta Falcons atop the NFC South at 6-3. The Buccaneers with the loss yesterday are 4-5. The Panthers and the Saints are both at the bottom of the NFC South at 2-7. Let's talk about this Atlanta Falcons team and your favorite quarterback. You don't want to know?
We could talk about
okay,
because he's going to be Kirk Cousins.
He's going to be Kirk Cousins, but so far Kirk Cousinsing is working.
Yeah, people were upset about just the fact that they paid him what they paid him, and I feel like you need right now to go in, like we talked about Dak, the going market. You got to pay these guys.
No, yeah, and you gotta pay somebody like Kirk Cousins because he's like Peyton Manning early in his career where he's the regular season guy. But then when it comes to games that really count, he's just going to wet the bed.
So when was the last time the Atlanta Falcons were atop the NFC South? It's been a while.
Good question.
They've been a mediocre team for.
Well, no, because they even when the Matt Ryan, Julio Jones era, they played well.
They played well until.
Yeah.
But you also had Matt Ryan that was going to be Matt Ryan.
So are you comparing Matt Ryan and Kirk Cousins?
Very similar. Guys that could throw the ball, but they're immobile. And I won't say Kirk Cousins is immobile, but he's not going to make a lot happen with his feet.
But we talk a lot about when you have the right pieces in place and you have the right management in place and it all seems to be coming together. Do you not think that that's all boding well for Kirk Cousins right now?
No, it definitely bodes well for him. Because he's a guy that can throw the ball.
Oh, he will.
He's
going to throw the ball, but he's also probably going to give you about 20 interceptions a year.
Yep.
And when you throw the ball, interceptions happen. But...
And he's a statue. So again, when you face teams like Tampa Bay that can really put pressure on you just with 4 down linemen, bad things happen.
All right, but here we are halfway through the season. They're atop the NFC South at 6-3. So do you think that the Falcons will still be in the conversation when we come to the postseason?
I think between the NFC North and the NFC East who's going to represent in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because the South is so weak right now. I mean, other than Tampa Bay, you got the Falcons, but then the Panthers, they're fighting for draft picks.
Yeah.
In New Orleans, as Darren said, they already threw their towel in.
All right, but so the NFC West though is probably as mid as you can get.
Super.
So the Cardinals are 5-4, Rams 4-4, 49ers 4-4, Seahawks 4-5, and of course everyone's talking the 49ers always.
And so Mike, you listening? Can we blame what's happening in San Francisco to injuries?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because you look at Brock Purdy, and as much as I want to say he's kind of brought back down to reality, and fans are brought back to reality, I think he's still playing somewhat well. They're not just tanking because of a Christian McCaffrey injury, because of Debo saying who he's but it's still going to be in the back of his mind. He has an Achilles soreness. You're still going to be in the back of your mind man, I hope this don't.
And lucky for the 49ers in the NFC West, they don't have a huge hole to climb out of to stay in contention.
Yeah.
So it could still happen for them because they are in third, but they're tied with the Rams at 4-4.
Rams are balling, and Kyler Murray's playing well this year too.
Kyler Murray is actually playing very well right now, but again, it's a 5-4 record. When you look at the rest of the NFC, you have a bunch of 6 and 7 game teams that are winning right now. So the NFC
can't make
East,
the tackles though.
Yeah. So your Cowboys and the Giants are in the basement in the NFC East. 2-7.
What's
the
Giants'
Giants and the Cowboys are 3-5.
Yeah, Giants 2-7.
2-7. But you have the Eagles and the Commanders right now who are both playing very well. But the Eagles, who they thought would be the much stronger team in this division, the Commanders came out of nowhere, and here we are sitting atop at 7-2.
That's quarterback play. Because the Commanders have a young, hungry team, very similar to Detroit.
Yeah.
But that quarterback play, it makes a difference.
What if it's Detroit and the Lions? Like
Detroit
is the Lions.
I mean, Detroit. Wow.
Yeah.
Washington and Detroit for NFC Championship.
I say Detroit wins that one.
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I only say that
It depends on where the game is being played at.
If
it's in the DMV, Maryland, man, I think
really
it's hard to overcome the moxie that these Lions have
because they've got it.
Oh my God.
And it's very similar to the Chiefs in 2019. It's very similar. And
I mean, you can feel the energy when you're watching this Lions play.
They have fun together.
Absolutely.
And that's what's dangerous about a team, and especially when they're young, is being able to have fun.
That backyard football
together.
mentality. They're like,
which is what the Chiefs played with back in 2019. I mean,
they're happy to be together on Sunday. They're just super excited. So
and then Darius saying he's surprised I didn't bring up Saquon. We already knew the Giants was holding Saquon back. Like, he had the best play of the week 2 weeks in a row.
So that's reverse hop over was ridiculous.
It was crazy, but that's the kind of athletes that you surround around these quarterbacks, like a Kirk Cousins, to where get the ball in his hands within a 5-yard window and let him work his magic.
Yeah. Let's move to the AFC. AFC North. Steelers 6-2, Ravens 6-3, Bengals 4-5, Browns 2-7. And we hear every season before the season starts, the last few years, about these Bengals and what they're going to do. And here we are, and they're in the bottom of the AFC North. So do we write them off and not pay them any attention?
And so
what's their record?
No, and I
they're
think
4-5. They're below 500.
That's my question. Which team in the AFC do you guys think poses the most problems, especially late in the season going into the playoffs?
Baltimore right now?
I say the Bills and the Steelers.
Baltimore.
Between those two.
I don't think the Steelers. I just think Baltimore.
So we already know that
they made a new addition today.
Patrick Mahomes lives rent-free in Lamar's head. I don't see Lamar getting over that hump.
They got another receiver today. Baltimore, I mean, they're playing well.
Yeah, but then when it comes time for them to try to come back and fight to get that win against the Chiefs, what happens?
He also never had a role in Derrick Henry till now.
That's what I'm saying.
No, that's what I'm saying.
All I know is I remember the Chiefs playing these teams and they beat them. So
yeah, they did. That they did. But I mean, and everyone's argument to that is that it was early. It was early.
No,
and just like you said, I mean, they didn't know the role for Derrick Henry.
No, because y'all had the same thing last year for Detroit early in the season. Oh, it was early.
Yeah.
Okay.
True. Okay. Touche.
Well, no difference. Chris Jones, Travis Kelce didn't play.
It's early.
It's early.
No. I said it to say, hey, Detroit had a chance to confirm that victory, but they couldn't get past the NFC Championship. That's not the Chiefs' fault.
And that's
So
and I don't want to gloss over the fact that I just said that one of the problems in the AFC for us will be the Steelers, and the Steelers quarterback is Russell Wilson, who I still don't believe in. But he's playing very well right now. I got to give it to him.
You don't have to, because you're not in the Steelers front office.
I agree. No, I'm saying I think out of all the remaining teams, I think the Steelers have the best chance just because Mike Tomlin's thing is simple: run the football, play smash mouth defense. I mean, and that's something that, now granted, Kansas City, to their credit, nobody's been able to run the football on them. So so that's the flip side. But people always try to put this Josh Allen and all these other teams and Boy Wonder and the Chargers and stuff. I mean,
I don't want to hear Josh Allen or in San Diego till they beat him.
No. So, but the AFC South, Texans, Colts, Titans, Jaguars, and this is the Texans to lose at this point. They're 6-3, and then the Colts are 4-5, and then you got the Titans and the Jaguars with 2 wins.
Do the Texans pose a threat, postseason threat?
I don't believe
they can't overcome their injuries, man. That's the problem, because their injuries are a key positions that is helping C.J. Stroud. I mean, last year he had Nico Collins, he had Tank Dell, and this year, they're just dropping like flies all the way around. So,
yeah, I still don't believe in them like that. I haven't seen enough of this kid with this team through a full season. Because once it starts, it was early. Now we're getting into that second half. The meat and potatoes comes.
Yeah.
Will he be there? Let's go to the AFC East and West. AFC East: Bills, Jets, Dolphins, Patriots.
That's not a division you have to worry about.
Pretty much the Bills. That's all you got. And once again, we're in pure ownership of the AFC West.
Yeah, I'm saying if Josh Allen is still a quarterback, I don't think you have to worry about them.
Wow. Okay,
that's a pretty strong statement.
I think the Bills are they better than they were last year? No, but I feel like they're still a contender.
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't look over the Bills, and we'll see come next week.
And I still believe in Josh more than I believe in
Lamar.
No, well, Lamar James is not Joe Burrow. So there's that. We're going to take another break right now. When we come back, we'll talk about the Chiefs on this short week playing the early game against the Broncos at GEHA Field at Arrowhead on this election night victory Tuesday. Chiefs still the lone undefeated team in the NFL. We'll talk some injury. We'll talk and see if there was any more conversation about Pat's ankle. He sat out, and just to watch Carson Wentz grab that ball and warm up and then turn around, he's got his hat back on.
Oh, yeah.
It happened real fast. Pat's like, no, I'm good. Sit down. We'll talk about all that when we come back. Taking another break, and we'll actually go online and see if we got some questions from our crew.
We got a lot.
We got to go in, and we're doing it. Stick around. We're back with the Red Hour in moments. You always play that right before we come back from break. Get my groove on. Damn, James. All right. We're back with the season 6 of the Red Hour live from the W Podcast studio on this Victory Tuesday. Chiefs still undefeated and getting ready for a short week playing the Broncos at GEHA Field at Arrowhead. Before we dive into that, let's go ahead and go online and see what kind of questions we got from the crew.
I'm just going back from earlier. Thanks, Chef Kev, for giving us some updates on the election.
That's funny. Kev's a meme on Twitter right now. That's so
Is
funny.
He? Yeah. Joey Carr said he would love to see our show on ZTV online. Mike says, I want to thank Kareem Hunt. He must want to bet. He also says, Sean, I think your undefeated bet was a year too soon. Chef Kev says MVS, Buffalo, and Baltimore stepped up when it mattered. He also said DeAndre is bigger than Justin Field. He's a leader in the locker room as well, and he is a third down guy. Yep. Mike said Bucks should have went for 2. I want to talk about that here in a second too. Yeah. He said the phantom holding call on the Bucks that made it 1st and 25 was a drive killer. And then he also said that Bo can play decent. It'd be a closer game. Talking about this week coming up. Corey said need to get Knicks. He's a sneaky guy and wanted to see more pressure on Baker. And Darius said, of course, I'm surprised Q hasn't brought up Saquon. But going back to
that
should have went for 2
point conversion.
Yep.
So and it's wild because you sit there and you're playing a team like the Chiefs and you're looking at the clock and you have an opportunity to be up and put yourself in a position to win the game, and then you make the decision to not do it.
Yeah, I think you if you're looking at it from watching film, right? Like you understand that the Chiefs defense has been great on goal line. They have been great in the red zone, especially against run.
Other than yesterday.
Yeah, they've been great in the red zone. And you don't want, as a defensive coach, which Tybo is a defensive coach, he's like, all right, we'll go overtime and we'll put my defense back out there. And so I think he made the right decision, in the moment.
Yeah.
But if it's me, I'm going for 2.
No,
I'm going for 2 because you at this point in the season. What's Tampa Bay's record?
Tampa Bay
4-5 right now.
4-5.
You at this point in the season, it's like, man, look, guys, I'm getting on the radio, the headset, and I'm like, all right, my offensive coordinator, what you got? What's the best play you got? And we're gonna ride or die. Like, why not?
You don't do that for
you got the defending Super Bowl champs on the ropes.
But you don't do that for one reason and one reason only.
Why not?
The secondary reason is because you've been able to get pressure on Pat. You 4 sacks in this game. You hoping to get to him because there was a couple of drives they started getting going, and they were able. Tampa Bay was able to stop the Chiefs. Force a punt, but the one reason and one reason only is because you were not moving the ball on offense like that. If you were able
all the way down the field though to get to the red zone.
Yeah, but they weren't doing that consistently with drives. Like there were some drives, again, the phantom holding call. There were a couple of them where it was penalties that pushed them back. There were a couple of different things. But again, if you're going for 2, if you don't make that, then you've got to drive the length of the field just to at least get a field goal or a touchdown, again, to tie if they score just off of that miss.
Well,
and
what's
history?
Hold on. The flip side is because I see it both ways, and I see what Steve was talking. We were talking about it last night. Like, if you're gonna lose the game, like you lost a game without even getting a chance to go in overtime,
I'm fine with that.
You go F it, and I mean because if you're gonna lose, at least if you attempt to go for 2 and win the game, nobody
get rich or die trying.
So I mean,
not me.
In hindsight, I mean, I see where Steve is going with it. I mean, again, I would have played for the tie to take a chance in overtime, but I mean, I would have had no problem whatsoever. I mean, I had a problem because I needed it.
But what's history tell us? And we've all seen, even the people watching us online, we've all seen this Chiefs team in overtime. What's history tell us?
They're undefeated.
Overtime. That's why Baker. You talked about it earlier. That's why Baker had to look like, oh, they got the ball first.
Hold on, Steve.
Yes.
Hold on, Steve. It goes back to that Monday night game where, and I was talking to one of the players about it, where the Chiefs and the Raiders, the Monday night game where Kelsey killed me because he had 4 touchdowns, only 25 passing and receiving yards. But the Raiders, they went for 2. They went for 2 because they didn't want to go into overtime for that very reason. Now they didn't get it, but
and that's what I'm saying.
But they,
when you don't get it, you're forcing your offense to now travel the length of the field to at least get a field goal.
Actually, you're forcing your defense because the defense has to try to get.
And that's what I'm saying. In a perfect world, you get a stop, they punt. So now you're forcing your team with less than a minute left, which we've only scored on methodical drives.
Yep.
We ain't really hit them with and there was I think it was early in the game. I think it was first or second quarter. They had like a big shot play that was able to go 30, 40 yards. They gave him a big chunk.
Yeah.
But again, on offense, you have to feel it. And if you're not moving the ball, and especially on this Chiefs defense, that kind of kept the lid on them, but still, like, being able to have Sterling Shepard on those reverses, really get some big chunks out of those scores. I think one of the reverses went for it was a 3rd down and short, and he was able to scoot that around. Like, you use that momentum during the game, but at the end of the game, if you're not moving the ball like that, I'm not going for two.
I want to ask everybody this: Are you guys analytics people? Like, y'all look at the numbers?
No,
at all? Because I was
I
looking.
think it's room for that, but no.
I was looking online, and it was like the Bucs were in that moment. Just looking at the numbers, the Bucs were like 49% or something to be able to convert on that 2-point conversion.
That's almost half.
Almost 50-50, right? What happens when you go to overtime at the beginning of the game? I mean, the beginning of overtime, what happens? You got to flip a coin and see who gets the ball.
Coin toss.
50-50.
It's the same. It's the same either way, but
that's what I'm saying.
I would rather use it on the coin toss, because again,
all right,
if I don't make this 2-point conversion and I'm leaving it up to Kareem Hunt, that has let me go to it. Kareem Hunt has, what was it, 7 yards a carry, and you need 6 plays to get us out of the paint,
and you're playing on the road in the rain, against Patrick Mahomes,
and you know how they get down in overtime.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I would rather take my chances with the coin toss than I would with trying to take 2 points.
But you just got to saying that they were having problems getting the ball down the field scoring anyway. So even if you get the ball in overtime,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. In 1 minute. Now, if you have overtime where I'm not forced to push this ball down the field, yes, I'm going to take my little quick 5 to 6 yard hitters, because that's what they did when they were successful on scoring drives. They little quick 5-6 yard hitters. They lived on screens yesterday. Like, I haven't seen a team run that many screens since the Chiefs had Jamal Charles. Like, they ran screens like crazy. But again, you're trying to misdirect them. You're trying to hit your dinks and dunks. You're not necessarily trying to break free. And I think Rachaad White ended up having one like long run, but outside of that, you're not relying on the running game like that. Not against the Chiefs.
And the Chiefs yesterday on 3rd downs were amazing. And weren't they flawless in overtime?
Yeah.
So that's like immediately went just game over.
Yeah, and Justin Watson said this when I talked to him in the locker room after the game. He said, we always preach formula.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's formula? He's like, we got the formula in those situations to know exactly what to do in the situation. So it's all about formula.
And we always feel like, unlike most teams, when they practice this every day.
Yeah,
yes,
they do.
Every day.
So they're ready for the situation when it arises.
And then on top of that, add in a guy that's going to catch anything that's within 8 feet of him, no matter what the radius. Yeah.
Welcome to Chiefs Kingdom, Dion. Welcome to Chiefs Kingdom. All right. So this Sunday, early game at home against the Broncos, who are 5-4. Darren. Short week, 8-0. It's the Broncos, division rival. What happens?
Chiefs go to 9-0. I mean, you saw, first of all, you see what Baltimore did. And not saying that you're trying to copy what they did, but that was a statement win for Baltimore over Denver. Chiefs need to kind of mirror that, because you don't want to be seen as having problems beating, even if they're our division team. But based off of what you did with Tampa Bay coming in, you don't want to have a game that's that tight, that close going into the fourth quarter, and putting yourself in a position to lose the game. So you need to get on top of them early and let the defense get after. But again, and a rookie quarterback at that, nah, man, you can't get him. You can't get him jokers no life.
All right, and he put money on that.
He did.
Not yet, but I will.
All right, nephew.
I like the Chiefs in this game. I mean, you get a team like Denver who's coming in with a young quarterback, and you got to get after him. Like Corey said, and the chat here, you got to get after him. But you got to also expect them to do some crazy stuff. Like last week, I think they ran like a flea flicker with Bo Nix catching a touchdown pass. They're gonna do some crazy, like try to own whatever it is, fake punt, all that stuff is on the table for this
stuff
team.
Will probably work. We kind of open Matt Nagy don't don't do that like he did last night.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff. You think about it. Like this is a team coming in with nothing to lose. Sean Payton is, I'm pretty sure we always talk about it and y'all will say, no, it's not like that. But I'm sure in his contract, the Chiefs are circled. You beat this team. If nobody else, you beat this team.
So do they even bring any competition?
Yeah, I think they do. I mean, I'm not saying Bo Nix is trash. I think he's better. Well, what you gonna say?
I was going to ask you, Bo Nix over.
I was going to say I'm putting Bo Nix on my parlay slip for some rushing yards.
So let me ask you, Bo Nix or Dak Prescott?
Come on, man, Dak, don't do that. Dak's proven it. No, why y'all give Dak all this hate? Like he ain't good.
Who'd you pick for the Super Bowl?
Hold on, that man was
Dallas Cowboys.
That man was more concerned about having the largest contract and trying to field a team, including a running back. Some of the team.
And I want to remind you that the Cowboys are 3-5. The Broncos are 5-4.
Just saying.
Come on. All right.
We're going to give you a chance to change the Super Bowl pick.
I got the Chiefs in this week again. I feel like they should do what they're supposed to do. Even though it's coming off of somewhat of a shorter week. You want to keep all steam ahead. You want to keep your foot on the gas, if that makes sense. I mean,
absolutely.
You got a chance to go 9-0.
All gas, no brakes.
Beat a team that you're supposed to beat. I mean, this ain't the Chiefs of the past where they lose to teams that they, are supposed to win against. I feel like you got to put your foot on their neck.
That week could still come, but I think they're sticking to the formula right now.
Okay.
So.
All right, Q.
That week won't be this week.
It won't be this week.
No, not against a rookie quarterback.
I have never seen people just so anxious to say somebody's going to beat the Chiefs.
It's like, so over it.
Just so they don't go undefeated.
No, yeah. And with these matchups, I think I said at the beginning of the season, I think the only teams I'm worried about are Buffalo, Tampa Bay, and I think it was the 49ers, and they didn't already beat two of them. So
yeah.
And they got to go into Buffalo next week. And the only way if and the Chiefs are great at this is always, looking at next week, the week or the week ahead, and not looking.
A lot of people try to make sense that the Chiefs were looking past Tampa Bay to get to Denver. I'm like,
no.
Why would you do that? That's the only thing. Like if as long as they don't look past,
don't actually talk to the players. Like that don't make sense.
As long as they don't look past Denver and start looking at Buffalo. Because what we talked about, what was it, year before last, it was like, oh, well, man, they looking towards the Super Bowl.
They won't.
All these games don't really matter. They're looking until they got that rude awakening, Christmas Day last year.
Their last loss, by the way.
What was the year before that? When Tyron was calling the fans toxic. Yeah, I mean, they had the Super Bowl hangover. They were looking directly, at the Super Bowl. So I feel like this ain't the week for that.
All right, so next week, short week, we will be live from Elevation Grill in Raytown, 6141 Blue Ridge Boulevard. So all of you in Kansas City have a chance to come and hang out with us in person at Elevation Grill, 6141 Blue Ridge. So come out, hang with us.
Some food, drinks, come hang out with us.
And it's going to be a great time, and hopefully we'll be celebrating another victory, and the Chiefs will be 9-0. We'll definitely have a new president. We don't know if they're through counting by then. We'll find out for sure, but we will be in person again, Elevation Grill, and be sure to follow us on Facebook and X and everywhere else that you can find us on social media, and we'll leave that information on there as well. So if you're around in town, come out and hang out with us and enjoy Monday Night Football at Elevation Grill. That's where we'll be next week. All right, folks, that is going to do it for us. Whatever happens tonight, don't be stupid. Be safe. Just be safe. We love y'all. We'll see y'all at Elevation next week. Good night. Peace. Later. Come along.
The views and opinions expressed on the W Radio Show by the host, co-host, guests, and call-in listeners are solely the opinions and responsibility of the original source who expressed them. They do not represent the opinions of the W Show, 100.1 FM, One Kansas City Radio, Sideline Sports Talk, Team Wall Street Foundation, or affiliates.